We are live. We are live. Welcome back in to another episode of the LANCESCURV show, LANCESCURV podcast, LANCESCURV live, whatever you want to call it. Yes. Two of my favorite people are here. I have a few more favorites, but Sister Oyala, yes. Brother King, Indigo King, 111. Yes, you're right here in it and on it. I'm just feeling good. I'm not showing my face tonight. I'm just a little tired, so I know that would project on the screen, but I don't mean tired like I'm going to sleep. I'm just real relaxed, but, you know, I want to hold my face the way I want to hold my face. You know how that goes. I want to focus in on the topic this evening, and that's the title I came up with, but we're going to be able to go a lot of places with that, and, of course, we'll be able to open up the lines if you want to come on in and share your piece. And everything that I say in a title doesn't necessarily mean that it's everybody. I just want to get that clear. Let me show the title clearly and make sure that we understand, because there'll always be somebody that comes in the chat room. Now, not chat room, we had one yesterday, right? Hurricane, that knucklehead. Or the comment section, and they understand it, but they don't want to understand it. So I'm going to break it down. I want to cover a few things. Poor parenting and neglect can breed generational failure. Now, what is the one word in there that leaves the door open? Poor parenting and neglect can breed generational failure. I didn't say will breed. I didn't say always breeds. I said can breed generational failure. It doesn't mean that if you had according to your terms. Yes, Master Glam. I know you're going to get them all up in this one. Top-notch rocker, Jeff Spark of Divinity of Woodside, Queens, New York. Woodside, Queens is the most culturally diverse place on the planet. Woodside, Queens is the most culturally diverse location on the planet. It has a little bit of everything. If it's missing something, it still has more than the rest of the world as far as the different cultures and races and countries. So you're there right there. I know exactly where you are, brother. I was raised in Queens myself, born in Manhattan. Master Glam, I know you got a lot to share with this one. We can take it where we want it. We can talk about proper parenting. I just made that the title. And it's never clickbait with me. It's just that we like to cover a whole lot of things. But I just don't want people to think that, you know, and I put it in different letters. I said can breed generational failure. So that knocks out the people who have been raised up in really stressed out situations with a poor parenting as an example, but they still made it. Not to say it knocks them out. You know, we applaud them. Kudos to you for overcoming certain conditions and not becoming a statistic. Okay. But still, when you grow up in those situations, you're still touched in a way. I would say that, you know, you still have things that have affected you and you still may need therapy. Just don't think that because, well, I came up in a situation where, and I'm just using this as an example, I'm not throwing off on anybody, you know, personally, because, you know, if you have a bunch of animals out there or people, you throw a rock into a crowd, somebody's going to get hit. So it doesn't mean that I'm throwing off on you, or maybe we had a past conversation and I'm bringing it up. No, I'm just speaking in general terms, because it's a wonder how some of us have made it. And I have been blessed with wonderful home growing up, wonderful parents who guided me and stayed on my backside. That's the one thing they did, is they stayed on my ASS. They made sure that certain things weren't going to go down. You see what I mean? Especially since I have an older brother who has, you know, courted the streets and the drugs and everything else. And that was kind of beyond my mother's control and my father's control. You all know the story, you know. He didn't take to my father, and you're not my daddy, and a lot of things. And growing up in New York City in those days, I guess for him, with the heroin and all the temptations for the gang stuff and whatever, you know, it could be done, but, you know, you can't force a situation when you've tried so hard. So it's on both sides, but really it's on the parents. Reese, I see you popping in. Reese is always slipping in. She waits for a few people to come in, and then she slips right on in. And you look, you say, wait a second, how long has she been here? But she's here. I'm glad that you're here a little early. I'm going to read a piece of an article, and then I want to chop it up and tell some of my own stories and everything like that. And it's a very long article. I am not going to read this whole thing, but I just want to say, Yvonne, how are you, family? Yes, I'm glad you're here. I'm going to read a piece of this, and it doesn't mean that I'm backing everything 100%. You know, this is written by someone, but it's in a very genetic way, because it's about Black kids and Black parents, but a very generic way, I wanted to say. And this is from childtrends.org. I will drop the link in the room afterward so we can break it down. And years from now, if this video is still up, people can say, well, what was your reference? You know, and I will speak on, like I said, some personal experiences and observations that I've had growing up. And we'll roll from there, right? Black Americans' social standing in the United States has been shaped by a long history of racism and laws, policies, practices that has built racist institutions and created and exacerbated inequality. This inequality is built into the infrastructure of our country and has formed a foundation for structural racism, a system that privileges white people and results in intentional disadvantage for Black Americans. These inequalities negatively impact the lives of Black people in a number of ways, including where they live, the education they receive, their employment and economic opportunities, access to childcare, mental and physical health outcomes, and political standing and power, and the way they are treated in our systems of law and justice. Virtually every facet of the lives of Black people in the United States, both adults and children, is shaped by race. America's racist laws and policies have long impacted Black Americans, regardless of their socioeconomic status or social standing. Population. Black Americans currently number about 42 million, making up about 13% of the total population of the United States. As of 2019, there were 2.68 million Black children from birth to age 4 in the United States. Definitions. Due to the pervasive nature of structural racism in the United States, no Black person in America, regardless of their country of origin or ancestry, is immune from the effects of racism. However, the historical context of an individual's country or origin or country of origin or identification may vary. This, in turn, has the potential to differentiate, impact the experiences of Black people in the United States. When referring or referencing Black people throughout this issue brief series, we are referring to individuals Africans who survived the transatlantic slave trade, as well as the smaller populations of people living in America who may identify as Black African or Afro-Caribbean. Black also includes individuals who reported being Black alone or in combination with one or more races of ethnicities in their responses to the U.S. Census. For instance, an individual who identifies as Black only, as well as someone who identifies as Black and white combined or Afro-Latino. Culturally, it's the family structure now. Black Americans have long highly valued romantic partnerships, marriage, and children. However, institutional and structural barriers often prevent them from being able to realize these values, particularly for those who have low incomes. From 1987 to 2017, the rates of cohabitation among Black women aged 19 to 44 increased from 36% to 62%, a rate that's seen among women from other racial groups. The percentage of Black women ever married, however, is lower than those who have cohabitated at 37%. While there are many explanations for lower levels of marriage among Black women, an overwhelming number of theories focus on economics, specifically the earning potential and availability of Black men. For instance, a lack of employment opportunities for Black men, higher workforce participation among Black women than among Black men, a lack of wage parity between Black women and Black men, and the disproportionate representation of Black men, particularly from low-income backgrounds, in the criminal justice system may result in a lack of marriageable partners, men who are perceived by women as attractive marriage prospects because of their financial and social standing. Years, from 70.8 births per 1,000 women in 2008 to 62 per 1,000 women in 2018. 37% of Black women have a first birth between age 20 and age 24, and birth rates for Black women are highest from ages 25 to 29. This indicates that Black men are having children at the same ages at which they may be enrolled in school or entering the workforce. At the end of their childbearing years, age 15 to 50, Black women have had an average of 2.1 children. Black children live in a variety of family structures, including married, cohabiting, co-parenting, and single parenting households. 64% of Black children live in single parent families, which may include single parents living with an unmarried partner or with another family. Among Black women ages 15 to 50, approximately 60% were married or living with an unmarried partner at the time of their first birth, and roughly 40% were neither married nor living with an unmarried partner. The distinction between single and unmarried, but living with a partner or co-parent is important because it indicates that despite declines in formal marriage rates, close to 60% of Black fathers, close to 2.5 million or 4.2 million, live with their children, a fact that often in contrast with public perceptions of Black men with children. Within these households, Black couples generally describe in egalitarian and flexible gender roles. While American fathers of all races and ethnicities are generally more involved with the care of their young children in the decades past, Black fathers, both who live with and live apart from their children, are more likely than white or Hispanic fathers to feed or eat meals with, bathe, diaper or dress, and play or read with their children on a daily basis. Very important to know. Extended family and kin networks, a source of social support and enduring legacy of African cultures and heritage, have also played a key role in childbearing within Black communities. For example, among children living in a grandparent's home and being cared for primarily by a grandparent with no parents involved, more than 1/4 are Black. Black grandparents play an instrumental role in childbearing and child care, even when children live with their parents. Family and kin networks also serve as an important buffer for some of the negative impacts of structural and institutional racism experienced by Black families, and frequently provide emotional support and instrumental assistance, such as help with transportation and finances, employment and income. As with family structure, families' economic standing can affect their access to services and resources that can impact the quality and stability of their relationships with their children, as well as their children's social, emotional, and cognitive development. For example, higher parental earnings, more common in married and or two-parent households, have been associated with increased stimulation and response among infants and young children. This, in turn, has direct links to brain development. In addition, children from families of middle and lower socioeconomic status have shown reduced levels of language development from as early as 18 months. Compared with their more affluent peers, hypothesis suggests that upper income parents who generally have higher levels of education may have more free time and or ability to invest time and resources in their children in middle and lower income families. In addition, higher incomes facilitate better access to stable and safe housing, which is a determining factor for a number of child outcomes. While employment indicators are important, earnings and workforce participation are not a panacea for facilitating Black children's positive development. Black parents participate in the U.S. workforce in high numbers, with 3 in 4 Black children under the age of 6 having all residential parents actively engaged in employment. Half of Black female workers are mothers, and more than 2/3 of working Black mothers are single. These high rates of workforce participation, however, do not translate to higher earnings. Among all full-time workforce participants in 2018, Black men earned 70.2 cents for every dollar earned by white men, and Black women earned 61.9 cents. In contrast, white women earned 78.6 cents for every dollar earned by white men. In addition, Black men and women are overrepresented in jobs that have non-standard hours of employment. 34% of young Black children living in a single-parent, low-income household, and 70% of young Black children living in a two-parent, low-income household have parents who work a combination of standard and non-standard hours. 19% of Black children living with two parents had one parent who worked overnight hours, and 6% had both parents working overnight hours. Furthermore, 23% of those living in a single-parent household had a parent working weekend hours. In addition to working non-standard hours, Black men and women have had less secure employment due to difficulties entering and staying in the labor market. Black men tend to work fewer hours than white and Hispanic men, while Black women work as many hours as white women, but experience higher reductions in work hours when the economy slows. In fact, despite high rates of workforce participation, Black workers had the highest unemployment rate nationally in the first quarter of 2020 at 6.3%. This disparity increased as the COVID-19 pandemic slowed the economy and led to job loss for thousands of Americans. In turn, greater job insecurity may result in higher rates of poverty for Black Americans. In 2019, the poverty rate for Black Americans was 18.8% in comparison to 15.7% for Hispanics and 7.3% for both Asians and whites. And Black female-headed households had a poverty rate of 31.7%. Furthermore, 34% of Black children from birth to age 5 live in households with incomes below the federal poverty line. In sum, Black Americans have experienced employment-related challenges and structural barriers that make it difficult to maintain adequate income or accumulate wealth despite active participation in the workforce. Between the last recession, which began in 2007, and 2016, the wealth gap between Black families with children under the age of 18 and both white and Hispanic families with children under the age of 18 widened, despite the income gap remaining relatively constant. In 2019, median household income for Black households was $45,438 compared to $56,113 for Hispanic households and $76,057 for non-Hispanic white households and $98,174 for Asian households. Interesting. Let me look over this and pick and choose because this is a long one. We're throwing down some good facts here. And this article wasn't written today. Let me see when it was written. It was written March 4th, 2021. This is why they mentioned 2020 and 2019. I wanted to put a few of those things down. And this part looks like it's really interesting. They're talking about geography here. Geography. The enduring legacy of slavery, in addition to subsequent discriminatory and racist housing policies, is evident in the geography of where Black people live across the country. During the Great Migration from 1916 to 1970, millions of Black Americans left the rural South for North and Western cities to get away from the oppression of racism and white hostility and to search for better employment opportunities. In the past 30 years, however, more affluent Black Americans have participated in a reverse migration, moving back to the South to settle in cities with lower costs of living and better economic and educational opportunities. As a result, Black American families and children across all economic strata are currently highly concentrated in the southern parts of the country along the East Coast. I know about that because I did that. The relative size of the population of Black children in the 50 states and the District of Columbia reflects this trend. In 2019, the District of Columbia had the highest percentage of children from birth to age 4 who were Black, followed by Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, and Maryland. This table below shows the 10 states with the highest percentage of Black children in 2019, along with the total number of Black children from birth to age 4 in that state. So the top 10, District of Columbia, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Maryland. Number 6 is Alabama. 7 is South Carolina. 8 is Delaware. 9, North Carolina, and 10, Florida. While the 10 states with the largest percentages of Black children from birth to age 4 were the same in 2019 as in 2010, the size and share of the Black child population has shifted within states. For example, the District of Columbia had the highest share of Black children in both 2010 and 2019, even though that share dropped from 54% to 44%. This is part of a broader demographic shift in the district, which is no longer majority Black. The number of Black children, however, actually increased by 8% in the same time. The other 9 states saw little change in the percentage of Black American children, but the number of Black American children decreased in 8 states, ranging from 2% in Delaware to 17% in Mississippi. Changes in specific counties, metropolitan areas, and even neighborhoods may or may not be reflected in state-level changes. For example, while Georgia saw a small decrease overall, 3%, in the share of Black children from birth to age 4, Atlanta's Black population grew by more than 20% from 2010 to 2018. In nearby Rockdale County, the share of the overall population that is Black grew from 18% to 55% in the same period in terms of newer migration flows among Black people. Areas receiving more young couples or young single adults may see more changes in the child population in the years that follow. Similarly, despite large concentrations of Black people living in the southern and eastern United States, several states in the Midwest and West experienced large increases in the number and share of Black American children from 2010 to 2019, including Washington, Minnesota, Iowa, and Nevada. The table below shows 10 states with the largest growth in the number of Black children from birth to age 4 from 2010 to 2019. I'll name it out and we'll talk a little bit. We'll wrap out here a little bit. The state first is North Dakota, second Hawaii. Wow. Third, South Dakota. Fourth, Wyoming. Fifth, Montana. 6, Idaho. 7, Nevada. 8, Iowa. 9, Minnesota. And 10, Washington. Okay, let me see what the rest of this says. Okay, we're wrapping this up. I'm going to read this next paragraph. Looking ahead, structural racism in the United States has negatively impacted the nation's social and economic fabric and has been especially damaging to Black Americans. In addition, the COVID-19 pandemic is disproportionately affecting those who have historically experienced disadvantage in the country, including Black individuals and families. This brief has provided a demographic overview of Black families with young children in the United States, highlighting 3 areas of consideration for policymakers focused on family support services, family structure, employment and income, and geography. We understand that no single solution can undo harm of hundreds of years of racist policies and practices, and that moving forward will require solutions from a wide range of places, organizations, and individuals across generations and with a variety of lived experience. The remainder of this series will use family structure, employment, and income and geography to shed light on how policies specific to early care and education and housing can address some of the historical wrongs perpetuated against Black individuals and families. So they have a whole series like this, but this was just a taste. But at least in this article, what I'm saying, they're acknowledging that the institutionalized racism on top of slavery and the advantage that whites and others have gotten from us. And these days they want to tell us that, you know, we need to get over it. So it's not sour grapes when I speak this way. It's not sour grapes when I speak on the things that I speak on. And many of us already understand that and know, but something's got to be done about it. And so when I speak about poor parenting and neglect can breed generational failure, we have to understand that while we all can be successful, we are set up for generational failure through our youth. We're set up for that already. If they're admitting that there's so much that needs to be done in so many areas, we're set up for this already. So if we're set up for this already, to me, in my opinion, we need to do things over and above to make sure. It's not fair. Of course it's not fair. But we've been put in a situation that if we don't do more and run a tighter ship, no matter what the dynamic of the family is, like it said here, extended family, grandparents, aunts and uncles. This is how we've always lived through slavery. Look, people say, well, you keep on bringing up slavery. Well, this set the tone because nobody cared about us at that point. We were property. So we had to do what we had to do to survive, right? Just like they say soul food, and we go and eat up the soul food, and it's not good for us. But people say, well, we ate it back in those days. We survived. Yes, we survived. And one of the reasons why we didn't have more heart attacks back in those days, I'm quite sure they've done a study on that, and I'll find it if it exists, is the bottom line is that we were moving from can't see morning to can't see night. We were moving, not sitting in front of computers eating soul food, which will bring us to a sad state of affairs in our health. So as I rant a little bit, anybody who wants to jump in, Master Glam, hint, 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 Sister Oyala, Indigo King, whoever, Sister Reese, anybody who's here, Yvonne, feel free to jump in when you want. When you do, I'll give you the floor. But we see on the news at night, lots of times we see a lot of crimes being committed. And we know the news focuses on bad news of us. I'm not saying a college education is the epitome of academe and the cerebral development. But even when we graduate with high honors out of college, a college that they say will bring us to a higher level of learning is never celebrated. Even in our own communities, it's never really celebrated when we have, and again, I'm not saying that's the only way to go because I don't have any college background, right? To me, hard work, learning, and the knack for knowing how to place the resources in your life the right way, you can outdo anyone, right? I'm not knocking college, but anybody can get those books. Anybody can get that knowledge. And most people who own businesses don't even go to college, didn't even go to college, but they will hire people who did to do their work because they know how to be a general and a captain over their ship. Motivation, you can't be taught from a book. To be motivated, that's something that comes within. See, so, but I'm just using that as an example because they will celebrate Pookie and Ray Ray when they come home from prison, more so. They have a big cookout. Everybody has the Pookie and Ray Ray t-shirts on. They're dancing around. Oh, yes, I see you here, Master Glam. I'm sorry. I'm so focused. I'm right now. I got the lights out, right? I got you. I got you. Come on in, sister, when you're ready. Come on in. Talk to me. Master Glam, your line is open. You got to unmute yourself when you're ready.
Yes, I know. I wanted you to finish your point.
Oh, no, that's good. I'm always going to be here, and you know I'm a talking to fool. Anybody else comes, I put them first preference. Welcome, Shireen. I see you too. Go ahead, sister. Talk to me.
Ooh, well, I wanted to say that first of all, even though our families, what we call the Black family, what we call family, the the family structure for us is a little bit different. You know,
Yes.
we have a lot of our brothers and sisters that were raised by the grandparents or, you know, maybe by an aunt. You know, we have children who maybe lost their parents and, you know, they were raised by their aunts, their uncles, or, you know, another relative. And one thing that I think is really imperative is for us to bring back that sense of community by actually
Yeah.
helping those people out, because a lot of times they really do need help, whether it's just a break, or, you know, financial help. They need a lot of assistance, and that's one of the ways that we can start to become a better community so that we can get a better future for the younger children that are here. And I know a lot of times we can be a little bit hesitant to leave our children with people, but we have discernment. You know, we have discernment, and I know sometimes people can do things that are, you know, that we would never think of, but we really have to think positively, because that's one of
Yes.
the negative answers that I get, you know, or that I hear about when we discuss these kind of topics. And we have to think more positively, because, you know, it's not all the time that these horrendous things happen to our kids. You know, there's a lot of good things, and we need to focus
That's
on
right.
the good things that happen to our children. And while our children are in these public schools and stuff like that, I think is very essential, especially if you know, you're a taxpayer, you believe in politics and stuff like that. There are a lot of programs that you could put your kids in that are super, super low in cost, and it'll be great for the kids. You can be there with them. There are some of them that you can drop them off and they can enjoy it, especially when you're living in South Florida, or if you live anywhere along the coast, or you have lakes near you. Find a program that you know, your child can learn how to swim, and a program where you can be there to watch them, because there was one demon who actually was just recently charged, I believe, because she let a child drown, and she completely just forgot about him, and they didn't find him until like the end of class when they were like cleaning
Mhm.
everything up. But nonetheless, it's very important for our kids to learn how to swim. And if we could find a program where we can be there, where we are involved, because it's very difficult to part with your child, to give somebody the responsibility of your child and something happens to them. The weight of that is very, very heavy. So I understand that, but it's very essential for them to learn how to swim. They have programs where they can learn how to swim, and it's very low cost. There's programs that help teenagers. Um, within the cities. You can look through your municipality or whatever, and find information there. I know in my area they had recently had a program where they were teaching kids how to do interviews and stuff like that. And this is kids, I believe the age was 13, 14. I'm not really sure, but there was a specific age range, and it was for teens, and it was to help them go out there and learn how to get their first job. What is work ethic? What do they expect from me, from my job? So those are things that we have to take advantage of, because they help us with our children. And then also, you're a taxpayer, you need to be taking advantage of all of these opportunities and all these things that the city is offering. The library, if you're with your kid, because I know, being a parent, especially if you're a single parent, please jot some of this stuff down, because it's helpful to you, and it's a lot of it is free or no cost. The library has so many different programs. I know the library near me, they have a program just about every single day, especially during the summer and winter break. And, whenever the children have breaks, they have stuff. They have programs, stuff that you really don't need to participate. If you want to step outside and just have a little moment to yourself and stay in your car, you don't want to be bothered with your child for a little bit, you can leave them in the library. There's things where they read to them. They have like a circle time, and an author comes or someone comes, and then they read to them. And the kids take turns reading or whatever, and they do little arts and craft projects. Take a little bit of time to yourself and allow your child to enjoy themselves and to enjoy the people around them. So these are the
Yes.
type of things that we can do to try to take advantage of, you know, um, the things that we're already basically paying for, because the library has all this stuff. The park is here. The park is free. In my city, the park is free for you. All throughout the week, and if you pay like $2 on the weekend, they have a water park. It costs $5 to get in, $2 more after before a certain time. Let Be out there, be in nature. You can be getting some sun. Literally, I just a few hours ago, not even a few hours ago, maybe an hour ago, I was outside sunbathing while my son was in this little playground. It's like kind of like a jungle gym, and it's like immersed in water, and the kids run around. It's like a little tiny kiddie pool. Not really a pool. It's like if you could imagine, just like a huge jungle gym, and it's like surrounded by water. you know and they had like little pails that fill up with water, and the pails turn over after a certain while, and the kids get splashed. And I just sat there, and I got my son. I felt some of that water splashing on my face, to refresh myself. Like that feeling of you feeling nature, and just replanting yourself back within the earth, within yourself. We need to do that, because it's being a parent is very, very, very difficult, especially when you're a single parent. So if you can do something where you're
Yes.
accomplishing two things at once, you're getting your son, you're getting your, like, you guys, I'm all over the place, but there's been times where I've
Yeah,
had
we
a
with you. We
headache.
with you.
There's been times where I've had a headache, and I just went outside and I just stood in the sun. And, after a while, I start to feel a little bit better. You know, this is nature. You don't know if you don't try. You're never going to know how it feels, like what we're talking about when we say go out into the sun. I know a lot of us are so fearful, and we're like, oh, it's so high. And no, not really. Not really. When you get into into the right environment, maybe be by a little tree if it's a little bit too much for you. Have a little bit of shade with your son. But I'm telling you, reconnecting ourselves back into nature is so critical. It helps you to calm yourself. It helps you to be more childlike, and to go back to those peaceful times, when you were young, and just be patient, and just be, literally just be. That's why it's so important to be around nature. And when we get our kids involved in that, it's so much better. because they're here, guys. They're on these electronics and stuff like that, and they're not getting nowhere. And even little things that we do, such as uh just everyday things, like certain things that I do with my son, like I teach him words, like if there's something I'm going to say to him, I'll change a word in it and use a bigger word. I don't tell him, oh, go get this for me right now. Oh, Zion, can you go get this for me immediately? Like little things like that. you know just change certain words up so that they learn, because they listen. They're sponges. I said a word a couple of weeks ago, and my son was like, he looked at me, and he was like, I could see that he was processing this in his brain, that, oh, she's never said this word to me. I've never heard this word before. And then he repeated the word to himself. And then, but he still kind of understood. He used his context clues to find out what it was that I was talking about. And so he learned a new word that day. And so those are little things that we can do, to help our children, to add on to what they're doing in school. And
Yes.
another big thing, it is essential that you guys, please take the time to help your kids with their homework. I know you're tired. Like there have been nights, you guys, where I was about to lose it. You know, probably need a little sip of Moscato. You know, I'm just keeping it real, and that's what I feel. Some of us, we have our own vices. You might need a little J, something. But I know, I know how hard it can be, but it's so important to help the kids with their homework. Sometimes it could be the smallest thing, when they're in kindergarten. It could be, that they didn't spell something right, or that they didn't match something the right way. You can help them. It's a little thing, and instead of them going to school and you're laying everything on the teacher, be in charge of what your child is learning. Look at their homework and, okay, my son is doing this in class. He read about this. They have these little 5-page books that they read every day. They come home, and before they go to bed, they have to make sure that they read this book. Those are the little things that we have to do, and we have to pay attention to, because we have to take control of our kids. We can't make them go in the direction that we want to go, but we can prepare them on a good path. A lot of us do not care. I go to these meetings, and it has been getting a lot better, but I go to a lot of these meetings, and most of the parents are not there. They're not present. And sadly, at my son's school, they have a 53% attendance rate. 53%.
Whoa. Where are
That
these
is,
kids?
they're at home, Lance. There was one, I went to the park right by the school, like right after my son got out of school. I took him to the park, and there was this boy who, like, he looked like he was a young kid, and school had just got out. And in my mind, I was like, well, why you didn't go to school? But some black people, can't be all up in their business and stuff. And I wanted to ask him, like, oh, are you okay? Were you sick? Like, did you whatever? But like I said, sometimes you just want to mind your business. And then he started talking to my son. They started playing together. And like, while he was talking to my son, I try to see if I could talk to him a little bit. And then he basically had shut down, because I started talking to his mom later. But his mom was kind of like me, and so he knew his mom probably told him, don't talk to strangers. Somebody asks you something, don't say
Uh-huh.
nothing, because he didn't answer me. So his mama probably don't play. But he just looked at me. But when my son started talking to him, he was like, oh, my name is so and so. Yeah, I'm in so and so's class. So I'm like, oh, okay. So you go to the same school with my son, but you didn't go to school today. Are you sick? And later on, I see this woman, and it's his mother. And the mom has like two other kids with her. And so none of them went to school. And the mom was on the phone. I guess she was handling something. Um, but I mean, other than that, Lance, nobody seemed to be sick. Nobody was coughing. and they just didn't go to school. And so, and they look clean. They look like they just took a shower. Like nobody looked sick. They didn't sound sick,
Wow.
but maybe the mom had something to handle. But why aren't the kids going to school? Y'all just don't want to take them to school. And it's crazy because you're not teaching them. You're not teaching them. You're not taking the time to help them with their homework and to teach them how to read. Because a lot of our kids, y'all, they don't know how to read. A lot of our kids don't know how to read. And I know
Right
this
about
as
that.
a fact because I used to work at a school in 2 different counties. I have friends who are teachers. A lot of the kids do not know how to read. They need help. And then now with speech text and stuff like that, they don't even have to type. They don't have to text. It's crazy. And they need to learn how to read. These are basic things. If you don't learn how to read, somebody can present anything to you. You can put yourself in any kind of contract and you won't know anything. You won't know what's happening. You could sell your soul because you don't know how to read. Stop putting yourself and your children at a disadvantage. Stop, coming home and thinking that the job is over. It gets hard. Yesterday, I slept 3 times and mopped 3 times. I was getting annoyed, but we got to push through it. We're not going to die, you guys. We are chosen. We are chosen people. And when you bring a child into this world, it is a special thing. And we have to protect our children. We have to protect our children and we have to teach our children. They are us. They are a living, breathing version that we created of them. So it's essential that we take care of them. They are our legacy. When we are dead and gone, they will be here. And they need us. They need our nurturing. They need our guidance. They need our love. They need us. They need us to pay attention to them. They need our help. They need us to go to the meetings and find out what's going on to the school. Because a lot of us, we will go to the school if somebody talks crazy to our child, but we don't go
Mm-hmm.
to the PTA meetings to find out what's going on. And I see a school near me, their kids just got a brand new playground. And how did they get the playground? They got it by asking. They didn't get it from the school. They asked people around the neighborhood. So people around the neighborhood want a nice park for their kids. And so they donate, they give. You know, I know we Black people like nice things. But let's think about our communities too. Let's stop thinking that the city, the government, the county, that they're going to do everything for us. They're not. It is for us to take charge.
That's right.
It is for us to take charge of our children's education and of their well being. We have to do it. They're already saying that they want to take away African American studies in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that they don't teach them art and stuff like that? Why don't they teach them about home ec and stuff like that, how to cook? They don't do those things anymore, and children need them. Even when it comes to what is it, stem cell research and the STEM program, the technology. A lot of the kids are just now able to be in programs near me, where they don't have to pay. A lot of the children who are in our community, they're just now being able to get access to these things. And other people's children have been doing this. They've been had access to this type of stuff. So it's for us to create these things. Let's create recreation centers for the children. You know, in when we're looking at these churches and building stuff in these churches, let's build stuff for the people, the children that attend these churches. Something that's going to help them. Build a daycare where you can implant positive things within your child, within the people, the children who are around you, to uplift them. That's how we can uplift our community. We have to start with the children. And thank God that there's a lot of Black men who are actually here for our kids. There are. And I have to touch on this because a lot of times we disrespect Black men, and we disregard the ones that are doing, that are there. And there are a lot of children who are angry at Black men, like Lance has experienced and had, you know, difficulties with them when they were on his bus and stuff like that, because a lot of them are upset because they don't feel like they had that, what it is that they were looking for. I saw a video of a young Black man. I don't know what the background was, but he got into it with an older man, and he told the man, he was like, "You don't get to tell me anything. You have done nothing for me. You don't get to tell me anything." And what he really was saying is that my father was not there for me. There has been no male figure in my life, no male role model in my life who I can look up to. You were not a role model to me, and therefore I don't respect you. And therefore I don't respect you. So these men are hurt, and they feel like they're not receiving what it is that they need. So if we can do certain things to help them, if we can create more programs, we need more, because they're there, but we need more programs. We need more programs as Black men,
Yes.
teaching young men how to be gentlemen, how to start their own business, or you know, how it is to navigate, create like little study programs, and help children to plan out their life when they get to that age, when they're about to go to college, and when they're about to make those decisions. You know, what is it that I can expect? Because a lot of them, they don't know they don't know all of these things. Some of them are children, this is their first time going to college, the first child in their family to go to college. So these are like the little programs that we need, and our community is bringing these things forward. And back to the men, a lot of us a lot of us call good men simps. We call good Black men who come in and
Tell it.
basically clean up after another man, what another man didn't do. And he's loving, he's kind, he's compassionate, he's strong, intelligent, nurturing, all these things. And we disrespect them and call them simps because they came in and fulfilled a role that was not fulfilled because of maybe someone's past mistakes or transgressions. So we call these men simps. It's disrespectful, and it has to stop. What makes you better than someone else? It takes a lot to be a man, to stand up and be in a role, a better role than what was given to a young child or what was given to a young woman. To be a man, to step up and take that role, it takes a lot, physically, mentally, emotionally. When you have children who are disrespectful, like we all know, and then we have those men that do that for us, and then we call them simps. No, we need to be thanking them. We need to be asking, how do they do it? You know, it's fine if you don't want to be with someone who already has a child. You don't have to put yourself in that situation. But us as a community, we need to stop this narrative that was given to us, where we're saying that, oh, we don't like all these things that we don't do. We don't marry women with children. That's for simps. You know, we don't marry women who, or date women who have children. Those women are just, you know, they're, you just pipe them down and go. That's how a lot of our men feel about us. And it's really degrading to yourself. There's a lot of things that we just have to do away with, a lot of mentalities that we have to do away with. This narrative that Black men are against Black women and that Black men hate us. No, Black men don't hate us. As a matter of fact, in my everyday life, I see Black men who love me. I've never really met a Black man who really hated me. There's some of them, you'll find them. They're weird. But in my everyday life, no, I see strong Black men who love me. I see Black men who hold the door for me. You know, I see Black men who have offered to help me with gas. when they see my car wasn't starting because I need just a little bit more fuel. Mama, you need a little bit more gas. Let me help you. Please let me help you. And I could
That's
have gave
beautiful.
him the attitude. I could have gave him the attitude like, don't talk to me. I don't need your help. But because we do need them. We do need black men. We need each other. This is a story that was given to us, and we're running with it. We're running with this story that we don't need a man. I don't need a black man. I don't. Black men ain't no good. Even the ones with the passports, I still love them too. I don't care about that kind of stuff. I care about what's happening in my reality. I know what's real to me. The news doesn't need to tell me what's going on. Instagram don't need to tell me what's going on. I don't follow these narratives and these stereotypes of what they're saying is going on in our community. We know what's going on in our community, and we know what it is that we have to fix in our community. We have to start seeing our family almost as like a contract or something, just something of great value that gets more and more valuable over time. Because once we see it that way, then we'll actually take the time to make better decisions, to choose better partners, to nurture our family more, to actually create a legacy and know that a lot of the things that we do, they will hold weight in the future for our children, because that's what we do every day. When we are parents and we are taking care of our children, we are creating a legacy. Let's stop creating legacies of hurt, legacies of pain. Listen to our children. And also, when I was speaking about helping, we need to also help the teachers as well that are in our community, because a lot of us need no teachers. A lot of us know at least one teacher, and they can tell you a lot of these things that I'm talking about. How they come out of their own pocket to help the children, how they see that the children cannot read, how they
That's right.
see that the children are hurt and disrespectful. This is stuff that they see. So if we can donate a little bit of money so that the teacher can get stuff for her classroom, or if we can physically ask the teacher, what is it that we can do right now to help these kids? What can we do? We have to support them. The teachers need us. They're not being, a lot of them aren't being paid much, but they still come to school and they still love the children. It's not all of them that just come in and get a paycheck. Some of them love our children and they need us behind them. And one way that we can help is by being better parents, being more involved in our community. We don't do it enough. It's not enough. We have to see our children as something more valuable, as something that's gonna gain value over time. This is your family. This is your legacy. This is your child who's gonna be living on when you're not here. Being a parent is a big thing, and with great risk there comes great reward. So don't take it lightly. We need two parent households. Let's work on what our version of a family is. If our version of a family, let's stop talking about, black people need to stop creating a single parent households and da, 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 da. Okay. We understand that. We understand that. We hear that. What are we going to do? What is it that we're going to do? Let's fix what we currently have and stop disrespecting black men, stop disrespecting black women, and bring solutions, bring
Yes.
aid, not judgment, not ridicule. Let's actually fix the problem, because these families that we're talking about are already here. So what are we going to do to help them? What are we going to do to help these people? Because we're all a collective and we're all affected by each other, whether we see it or not. And we are stronger when we're together. When we are broken as individuals and we can't work on ourselves, we can't come together because we're broken individually. We're just broken individuals. How can you care for someone else when you can't care for yourself?
That's right.
So it's so important for us to care for ourselves. We have to care for ourselves. We got to make better decisions. And then if we're already in certain circumstances that aren't as favorable for us, hey, let's look at the bright side. Let's look at the things that we can fix, the things that we can make better. Let's come together and do these community things. Let's do community programs to talk to the children about what's going on in their lives, why they're acting like this. There are people who can speak to children in a certain way, and children will respect them. There are men that talk to children and say, hey, don't do this, your mama said this, and a child will immediately listen, versus if their mother was to tell them. So this is why we need that male figure. We need that male figure, and we need our communities, because the children need us. We have a lot of broken adults. Let's stop this judgment and this ridicule and start bringing in solutions. Start helping each other. And like I said, all those little things that you can do in your community that's free, you can do that stuff. You can do that stuff for your children and start to see how it develops, with how they start developing. How easily they'll start reading. Sometimes it takes a lot out of us, but hey, one night out of the week, read a book to your child. Read a book to your child. They want that interaction. They just want to be with you. They just want attention. They want to talk. They want to ramble, and they want you to listen to them. And sometimes we get so frustrated with life and all of our responsibilities that we can't be compassionate with our children. So we have to slow down. We have to slow down. We have to help our children. We have to create things for them. Create centers for them. Create rec centers for them. Donate to our community. Create parks. Clean the parks. Clean the communities. Attend the city programs. Attend the meetings. Okay? There are things within the community where your children can learn how to cook. They can learn how to swim. They can do art. Look it up. I'm telling you, there's a lot of these things, and a lot of our counterparts, they're attend these things. They attend them, and we don't.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We don't. We have no knowledge of a lot of these things. So let's start to take advantage of them. Let's start to take advantage of them so that we could change the future of our children, because they need us. We have to work on ourselves. And I know some of us are already in certain situations that aren't favorable, but we have to think about the positive and keep moving forward. There are things that can be done. We can create the solutions. We can. We have to believe in ourselves, and our community will slowly and surely start to get better and better. But our children, they need us. Like I said,
Yes.
they're the ones that are going to be here when we are dead and gone. They're the ones that are going to continue to either perpetuate, negative stereotypes and situations, or they're going to create the change. So it's up to us. We have to do it. We have to be more involved. Start to be more involved in within other people who that have children, within your reach, within your community. They need it. They might not ask for help. They might say, oh, I'm okay, but if they need help, give them a hand. Give
Right.
them a hand, because it's not easy, and we need that village. Let them help you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Your enthusiasm is amazing, because she's validated. You can hear her child in the background, so you know that she's a real mother, and she has a lot of things to do, but yet she took the time to come on to share her experiences. And that's why I like to have it that way, where people can come on and just say what it is from the heart. Take as long as you want. If you want to jump from here, jump from there, but to bring the point out. And right, we have to get away from the Western way of doing things. That's such an excellent comment. And that takes me to so many other questions that I have, because this way of doing things in the Western world is not working for us, and I'm not here to put anywhere else over anywhere else, but there are issues over here in Ghana, in Accra. There are major issues over here with the religion and the oppression that way, the mental slavery, making the children feel as though they cannot go beyond the constraints of the narrow-minded projection that the oppressor wants them to have, meaning that there's so much land here, there's so much opportunity if you put the right things in your head. And many of the teachers here, they don't say, go to America, it's better there. But everything they say basically leads to that in a child's mind. It's like a precursor, like you drop down something in their mind and they feel they're the ones making up their mind to want to go over there when they get older. But it's really those teachers who are here, which opens the doors for other people to come in and make businesses that generate lots of money that the people here can benefit, and we all over the world can benefit from. So it's just, they're controlling our next generations by keeping our heads in the wrong direction. And then now with those who are indulging in poor parenting and don't seem to have an interest in that. Again, I'm not saying it's everyone. There are a lot of mothers and fathers out here trying. Fathers who are by themselves doing the damn thing, mothers who are by themselves doing the damn thing. But we need to take away the stereotype over our mind and understand that this system is not going to do anything good for us. It's us who has to do it. We have to put our hands on it. We got to go back into the days where, just like Master Glam said, we need to sit down. I know my mother sat down with me. My father was always working. So, there were times my father, when he was there, like he was there, and they were married under the same roof. I come from a 2-parent household, but he was the one mainly doing the work. But he would sit down with me lots of times. And my mother was there most of the time, and she would make sure, that I learned an extra word or two every day, use it in a sentence and repeat it back to her in normal English. And if a day went by or two, she'd go back to those other words and make sure it was in my head so that when I read something, I didn't have to wonder what it was and skip over it. And I always kept a dictionary with me, that any word that I was looking for words that I didn't know. I'd see things on TV and hear certain words and go look them up. And once you have it in your mind, it's easy. But again, we have to get away from, there's so many aspects of poor parenting. It's not that you can just say in a one-size-fits-all situation, oh, just poor parenting, that's it. No, poor parenting and neglect. And like mixed genre faves said, we also need to start respecting our children and paying close attention to what they say. When children feel respected and heard, they will grow to be a healthy adult much more than someone who's neglected. And I always mention that with my mother and father. You know, they never just pushed open the door of my room. They would knock, give me a second to get myself dressed or whatever. And then I'd say, oh, okay, open, it's okay. And other parents were like, you're giving them too much power. Why are you doing that? And they had to explain to them, listen, you know, we want him to grow to be a healthy adult and respect others, because I had to respect them. You know, if you're not taught this thing at home and receive it at home, how are you going to execute it when you get in the outside? And what's the first thing that they say when you see well-mannered children in public? The first thing you think about is who raised them. You say, wow, these children are different. You know, they did a good job. Whoever raised you did a good job. And it's a reflection on the home. So you're right, Landon, we used to get book reports from moms, aunts. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Accountability to learn that also. But, you know, years have gone by so fast. And I always say that. And I say, well, past the year 2000 or 2001, social media came to, it really was like 2004, 2005. It's blurry in there. But we can truthfully say the last 20 years. So if you had a young lady who may have been 20 years old 20 years ago, well, she's about 40 now. If she was 15 20 years ago, she's about 35 now. If she was 10 20 years ago, she's about 30 now. Why am I saying this? It's because they were raised up in the social media era. And a lot of the dictates that they followed came directly from the riffraff and foolishness on social media, which it wasn't as bad then, but it was bad because you can gravitate toward the decadence and absorb it. And you as a parent who use this thing as a distraction to get away from the responsibilities or distract yourself from the responsibilities of being a parent, it's a joy to be a parent. You have a young life that you're guiding and training and helping, and they're a sponge, and you want to be there. You want to help them to read. You want to mold their conscious mind because you have it first. You see, and then the world comes at your child really hard. Because once your child gets a hold of social media and these things seep in, it's hard to get it out, especially when they get around the peers, other children who are talking some trash, who may come from a home where there's not much discipline and accountability. This is what you're dealing with. It's almost like, I hate to say it, I'm not calling our children roaches. I'm just saying, you ever see those commercials on TV where when one roach bites into this chemical and goes back to the nest, all the other ones get infected? Well, that's the same way social media is, and that's the same way many of our children are mixing it with other children, and we need to understand, we need to put some effort into it, because they will get these little bits of information. To us, it's nothing because we're grown. But any type of decadence that they get their hands on impacts their mind so much, and they're curious and they're intrigued. They want to know, and you have to be there to explain to them, right? Sister Hope Rice, much love to you. Trinity B, Lee Thomas. Yes, and what did Trinity B say here? Okay, I'm 40 this year. I had my first at 27. Hubby and I have 2 girls and 2 boys. Definitely a joy. Beautiful, beautiful, Trinity. Beautiful, beautiful. This is what we need. For those who may have had their children and they may not have been made around, or it was quite young, circumstances can be overcome. You just have to put the effort in, and really and truly the whole community. That's the African way of doing things. And a lot of people, I ain't no damn African. Well, it shows. We need to be there for each other. I used to see growing up, so it wasn't as much, but you see some single mothers with mothers who weren't single, and they had their kids together and they helped each other. That single mother can be over by your house while you and your man or your husband want to go on a date. And she'll take care of the kids and get a chance to be in a nice home and do whatever. We all have so much to offer. It doesn't always come down to money or positioning, or do you have this big mansion of a house? It doesn't matter. Your time spent, the effort collectively spent, is a beautiful thing, and children see that, and when they grow up seeing that, they will emulate that when they get older. This generation coming now is the most antisocial generation. We are breeding more serial killers and people who just want to shoot up places because they are hurting. There's a resentment there. Like I told you when I was driving the bus, a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times they were young men, 16, 17, 18, 19, that they would look at me like they wanted to kill me. And I'm like, I had to really think about that. And here I am on the bus, clean shaven, groomed, speaking to people with manners, intelligence. I knew how to handle people, but they did not get that. And they realized that's what they needed. Not me per se, but what I represented. You see what I mean? How many young ladies out there are gravitating to the righteous female energy that's out here? I'm not talking about no hanky-panky, I'm trying to turn you into a carpet muncher type thing. I'm talking about young girls who didn't have a mother to give them that attention. You see what I mean? And they see somebody who does, and they gravitate toward, even if you're a grown woman, you will gravitate toward another woman who is motherly, or has that motherly energy towards you. And that motherly energy might come from somebody who's 5 or 10 years older than you. It don't have to be with their actual age of your mother. Even those of us who are of age, we have gaps and voids inside of us. We can get to 60 years old, 65 years old, and have gaps and voids that we've nursed artificially, wounded, but never got it taken care of. But what about the ones who are younger? When we help them, we help us. Our wounds get healed when we help a child or somebody younger. And just like when Master Glam said, like, listen, you might be a little short on the gas or can use a little more, and the brother step in. That's a beautiful thing. And she didn't show any attitude. No, this is what we're here for as a collective. What happened to the village? What happened to us being considerate over other people? Mr. SCURV was telling me the other day that on the vans out here, the commuter vans, they call them chotros. Now there's ways of pronouncing it, and I guess my American accent gets in the way of it, but it's Trotro. Like people say tro, but it's not like that. It's chotro, right? Like the dollar vans in New York City. And so people got in the van. The driver was, okay with them, whatnot, just driving and everything. And when this straight up white man got on the van, wasn't paying him no mind. hit this driver. Good morning. Good morning. White guy wasn't paying no mind. Excuse me, sir. Good morning. Why couldn't you do that to your own brothers and sisters? And this was a Ghanaian brother who never probably been out the country. Cheesing for the white man. You see what I mean? What about your own? So we have the same version of that stuff over here too. You see what I mean? Let me put up Sister Hope's circumstances can overcome. Had my daughter 2 months before I turned 14. I raised a goddess, princess, soon to be queen, not a slut, thought, or bad bitch. It's about the positivity you expose. Exactly. Exactly, Hope. My hat's off to you. I know that. That's why I said there are circumstances when you can do that. You took responsibility. You did what you have to do. And let me tell you something. I know Hope personally. You ain't going to run nothing over her daughter, and Hope be there. Hope makes sure. Hope is like the fruit of Islam, but a female version when it comes to her daughter. She got her eyes on you. And if you look at her daughter a funny way, she gonna step to you. This is what it takes. But see, this is the thing. This is the thing. We need more Hope Rices in the world. See, 14 did not stop her. And of course, I'm quite sure there's some things that she had to learn along the way. But she didn't quit. She didn't give up. She took all that she knew and made it work. So there's nobody out here who has any excuse. You have no excuses. I'm going to drop the link in again for anyone who wants to come in and say a few words. Sister Hope, if you wanted to, feel free. I don't know where you may be. You might not be able to talk. And okay, here she is again. Not that I give two fucks about the European indoctrination. However, my daughter just graduated with 2 bachelor's degrees by way of me. She knows our history. Damn right. That's a big applause. You're going to make me cry out here. I love that. That's why I love you so much. And I told you, I'll say it from the mountaintops. I love Hope Rice, Sister Hope Rice. She's about it. She got that warrior queen energy. She ain't letting up. That's right. When you have her in your corner, you good. But you better get her back too. That's a beautiful thing. And that's what we need to brag about. And it's not bragging like a lower vibration. But I'm saying you got the right to brag about that. Because if you don't do it, I'm going to do it. How many times have I mentioned your name on the show? You weren't even there. Go back to some of those shows. You're like, damn, Lance, let's talk about me. Applauding your efforts and the things that you achieved and the position that you put your daughter into. The stuff that you had to keep away from her, you had to be the guardian over her, protector over her. That's a beautiful thing. That's right. And you need to speak about that more and more. And yeah, I know about the European indoctrination. No, but she achieved that because, like I said, the system is rigged against us. But that's not a reason for failure. That's just more to overcome, to show the world that we are the champions. We are the champions. We're the strongest. We're the original. We're the champions. So what? Okay, I'm in this situation. I'm going to win anyway. I'm going to come on top anyway. And you made it a generational thing. It's not just you achieving and that's it. And you sent her out. No, you brought that over. You like, this ain't going to spill over into this next generation. And she got to understand that, oh, yes, I was going, Sister Hope is in the house. Talk to me, sister. I want to show your face. Wait now. Wait, hold on a second. Let me open this up. I want to show the world that smile. Wait a second. Hold on. There you go. Talk to us, sister.
Hello, everyone. Hello to all the SCURV fans. Hello. I hope everyone is doing well, doing very well on this beautiful day.
That's right. Talk to us. Yeah, that's something.
All is well. Yeah. It's very interesting that you're discussing this topic. So, like you mentioning earlier, circumstances, can be overcame, I was one of those individuals in a little rural area in Missouri. We can hear a lot of things, not trying to even, badmouth my family or anything. But sometimes we as African-American people, it is a form of mental health. We become a product of our environment, So a family member of mine, had multiple children back to back. So I was fast at a very early age. You know, again, I got pregnant very early, but all I kept hearing, oh, you're going to be like your family member. You're going to be popping babies out here and there. That's what you think. All right. That's your perception of me. You know,
that's right.
Yes, my daughter, you know what? A lot of people can sit here and say she was a mistake. She wasn't a mistake. She was the very thing in my life that I needed, because it made me the woman and grounded me so that I can persevere and be the best mother that I could be to her. You know,
Beautiful.
Parenting doesn't come with instructions. Parenting doesn't come with anything. You just got to put your best foot forward and put positivity. So
That's right.
I didn't want, you know, my family constantly beating me down. And sometimes you have to get away from those individuals just so you can persevere. You know, sometimes your family can hinder you. They talk that, depending on how your psyche is, your mindset, you will fall into that trap. But if you actually get away and just get away from everything and just start over, you have no choice but to better who you are, because you have to eat, you have to survive, you have to get out here and make things happen. And if you have a little life looking up to you for the very essence of everything that they need, you're going to do just what you have to do. And that's a little bit of my story. That's a little bit of my story. So yes, my daughter actually just graduated with 2 bachelor's degrees just recently. Prior to, she had 2 associates. I'm just one of them parents to where I expose the good, bad, and the ugly. And you have to. We need to stop as parents hindering our children. You know, we need to talk to them. Even when things come into place, we have to see their mindsets, because they're exposed to so much at school. They're exposed to so much at their friend's house. Instead of trying to keep them away, get their mindsets on that and then role play scenario things out. Well, if you ever happen to be in this situation, how would you handle it? Role play with your children and see where they at. We work so much. We give this cracker, y'all, all 8, 10, 12, 16 hours of our day. We need to come home, not only give that time to our children. Ladies, if you're married, get that time to your husband. Men, if you're married, get that times to your wife. But most of all, our children, our seeds, our gifts, our blessings is looking up to us for everything. And a part of that everything is a form of communication. We have to learn to get into our children's minds and see the journey that they're on and guide them. And even when we lost and don't know, we know how to get on the phone and gossip. We know how to get on the phone and stroll Facebook. Get on the phones and find out just what it is so that we can aid our children. Life is completely different from the 90s and 80s and 70s. These kids got so much exposure, and we need to expose ourselves, so we better know how to direct our babies. It's so much out here, you all, on various levels by design to break families up. So we have to jump ahead and be ahead of them so they won't destroy that man, that woman, and that child. That's what they fear. So being that they fear it, let's give them something to be feared of, and let's be the best mothers, fathers, and let's raise our children not to be bitches, not to be thugs, not to be bad boys, not to be this, not to be that. Let's raise our children to be the very titles that they need to be, and that's queens, kings, empresses, gods, and goddesses. So I'm going to leave you all with that. Brother Lance, it's always a pleasure. I'm a follow, but unfortunately, on one of the plantations, I got to go put my eyes on these babies. But as I'm doing that, I'm going to make sure I'm still listening. You all have a wonderful evening wherever you at. Keep Black alive, and hey, pay attention and be very vigilant in all you do. Much love to you all.
I love you.
Love you
Thank
more,
you,
Brother Lance.
Have a
Love
good
you
night.
more. You as well.
Okay,
I'm going to still follow you.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a mic drop right there. After Master Glam and Sister Hope, that was a mic drop right there. I got to go back and listen to that. Matter of fact, I'm going to have to extract that little piece and make a whole separate video out of that. I'm telling you. I love it. I love it. I hope the enemy is watching too, right? I hope so. So they can see that we're not defeated. Whew. Where do we go from here? after our sister spoke, I dropped the link one more time. I might sign off soon. How do you God dog? How do you come back from that? Not a competition. I'm just saying that once you get that good dessert on the meal, Push yourself away from the table and just enjoy a state of digestive bliss, a state of digestive, spiritual, emotional, mental, physical bliss. That was food right there. Your sisters came in and put the food down. I'm telling you. Yeah, I know. I see you, Hope. I see you. Anybody else want to come on? I'll wait a few more minutes. I want that to really sink in. I want that, what our sisters put in, to sink in. And this is why I'm so happy to continue doing this, because let me tell you something. You know, I talk my craziness sometimes so we can laugh on an adult level. We might do that tomorrow night. I don't know. But tomorrow is Friday, right? I'm losing track of the days. But this is why I'm so proud to do this, and this is why I continue to do this. There are a lot of people out on YouTube and social media doing some wonderful things. But I think, I'm not going to say the overwhelming majority, but a good part of what's put out here is just ego and narcissism and just decadence and filth. And again, there are a lot of good people doing good things out here. But for me, oh yeah, I'm going to devour it. I got my knife and fork right here. I'm going to go play this thing back. But what makes me continue on at this point is the fact that we have sisters like Master Glam, Sister Hope, and all who are here, and even those who are not here right now. Because we have the plantations out here. We're still in the system. We still have to pay bills. It'd be beautiful if we can all get off the grid. And it takes a little different time for different people, different situations. We understand that. But this makes me proud. The times where I'm a little tired, like right now, you know, I had those teeth extracted and medicated up and shot up and all that stuff. I'm drugged out right now. I'm walking around. Earlier, I was walking around staring, just walking like, why did I come in this room? I'm supposed to get something. Why am I coming here? You know, I was getting ready to get in the shower. And it took like 45 minutes to get in the shower. I'm standing around like, okay, I got to do something by the computer, right? I'm sitting there naked in the house, confused. I could have easily said, hey, let me just lay down and sleep this thing off. But no. It's something that it does for me and the wonderful people here that are strong, that have so much knowledge. It's beyond me. I'm not that one who comes up here and just, I know everything. But when you all can call into the show like that and just say the wonderful things that you do, the powerful things that you do in the chat, it's not for everybody to come on every show every time. I understand that, because we have different schedules, we have different obligations and different things to do. But just to know that everybody exists, and we're doing our own thing, and it's a collective. You know what I mean? And we have a proximity that some may be closer, some may be further, but it's like the universe. Every planet can't have the same orbit. Some of us are like Mercury, get around the sun every 88 days. Some of us like Earth, Mars, Venus, and so on. Some of us like Pluto. Some of us like the comet Kohoutek. It comes around 285,000 miles before it comes back again. You know, we would have came back and left and came back and left or whatever. So what I'm saying is that the collective energy of when somebody watches this show, it could be 3 years from now, somebody might be in a situation and watch this and hear what Sister Hope said, or hear what Master Glam said, or watch the words that are put here in the chat room. And it's a beautiful thing. Well, Sharina, you realize this is why we love it. Oh, thank you. And I love you all too. I'm right here. And this, I'm, you know, I have a life and all that stuff. You know, we're building. I got my SCURV, you know, got my kids and everything. But this here is my life too. This is a big part of my life, because I think about the things we're going to talk about, the things that you all have said, the things that I have learned, the shows that I go back on and listen to. And I'm like, wow, I move with some mighty, awesome, powerful people, brothers and sisters who are exemplary, over and above. That's what keeps me here. Because if it was for the other stuff that other people do, I'd fall off. I couldn't do it. And mixed genre phase as well as saying we don't should be better than you. Yeah, they do the opposite. Exactly. You know, homeschooling, yes, homeschooling is the way. You know, different situations are different. Maybe somebody might not be able to do it right now, but whichever way, you can get together with other parents. Some may have to work, maybe an extra one stay home. There might be an older teacher who's retired who says, listen, you know, we'll pick a house or rotate houses or whatever. or some of the parents get together and chip in and get a small structure, it can still be considered homeschooling. It may not be in a home, but to get maybe a whole city, a block, a neighborhood, and get a bunch of y'all, and we pay her what she wants to get paid, whatever. And it's not about jipping the people, but we can do it if we come up with creative ideas. Listen, let me tell you something. I've always said it this way. If anybody here has ever been addicted to crack, I'm not trying to throw off on you or belittle you or look down on you, but I've always said back in those days in the 80s when I would see people who didn't push themselves all of a sudden become addicted to crack and come up with all these ingenious ideas to make money. I was like, why did it take crack to make them so brilliant, to be slick, to generate hundreds of dollars sometime to go smoke it up? But before, they couldn't figure out how to do a simple task or hustle in a certain way. There's a lot of time when, little things I've gone through here and had to face and deal with, but I made sure not to miss a day. And if I miss a day like normal, like I slept or I was a little tired or burnt out, but after all I've been through, we had a little private conversations here, and Sister Hope, Master Glam, all of y'all know, the close folks here in the inner circle know what I've been through. I explained it in detail, and I was very determined not to miss a beat. And that's what I do. And I draw strength to know Sister Hope's daughter and how beautifully she raised her. And she still makes sure to be. Sister Hope is going to be one of them ladies that she can be 70 years old, 75 years old. She going to make sure that everything is straight with her daughter. You know what I mean? Same thing with Master Glam. We're on the show and she's telling us, and you hear her child in the back. That's proof positive right there. You see what I mean? The day in and the day out grind of everything. There's no frauds here like that. Some frauds have come and gone. They're not here anymore. Thank the Creator. You all know who they are. But the real deal, the working folks, the people who are sacrificing, whether they had a child at 30 or had a child at 14 or whatever, it's one collage of all of our energies today. And we can draw strength from that. You know what I mean? I'm drawing strength from what was said today here in the show and in the chat room. It fed me. I can sleep better. It gives me more resolve. It gives me more determination that whatever my lane is that I have to do at this age and in this place, I want to help to make a difference, not only in my life, I'm going to do that, but anybody else's life who's all about it. We don't spread the peanut butter in the middle of the bread and just eat it. That's a nasty glob of peanut butter in the middle, and you eating bread around the edge. You spread the peanut butter all the way up to the edge. That's how you do it. You make sure to spread that jelly all the way up to the edge so that from the first to the last bite, you're getting peanut butter and jelly. So why can't we spread our love like that? When we're feeling good and playing music in our house, and we're vacuuming and cleaning, and we're feeling high spirits, why can't we go next door or down the block to someone and take some of that energy with us? Spread the energy, spread the peanut butter, spread the jelly. It'll pick up, just like when they had little electric pop dances and one hand would touch the other, and all of a sudden he got the electricity and whatever. That's how it works on a spiritual level. Laugh and dance with your kids and their kids and everybody get along just because. We're sitting here indoctrinated with so many things in our mind and the different thoughts and stuff that can be so depressing. And yes, we will feel it. We will feel it. Yes, we will. We're human. We got to have that person we can reach out to. You see what I mean? I'm going to share this since you shared this. I just saw this. Mixed Genre Fave said, using me as an example, I was raped at age 3 by an uncle that was in his late 30s. I'm sorry to hear that. Neglect of parents leads to all kind of abuse. Yes, I have healed, but parents really need to protect children. Yes, they do. There's no excuse for negligence. Yes, you're here and you've survived, and it's unfortunate, but I'm glad that, you've overcome that to the degree that you have. Lots of times, even stuff with, Mrs. SCURV has come on to the channel and said what she went through from the age of 8 to 13. You know what I mean? And, it makes me angry, really watch those uncles and aunts and even older cousins who come around your children. That's right. That's right. I'm glad you've healed. Yes. Yes. And when we give you the empathy and you've already healed, it will spill over to others who need that healing. And these are the kind of topics that I want to talk about, because we push a lot of stuff under the rug. We hide a lot of things inside the heart. Our stock answer, hey, how's everything going? Oh, everything's all right. Yeah, now you don't want to tell everybody your business or have strangers, whatever have you, but we've learned to hold things in, and then we explode, or it wears us down, or it leads us to certain addictions. We need to clean out Clean out everything. There's not anything that you're holding inside should not be inside like that, and should not be an embarrassment to anybody when it comes out. It should not be. You don't need to hold it. Look, we have a little private conversations after the show on the conference line. I've said a lot of things. You see what I mean? I'm not Superman, but I can be better and closer to that higher standard if I can speak things out and clean things out and acknowledge certain things and get it ready, because there's so many people who are wounded, who are walking around, who can't say. They never had nobody to talk to. It's not about just paying for a therapist, but having that person to talk to kick it with. Yes, if you have to, yeah, we should. But therapy comes in many forms. And so we go through life holding these things inside so deep. And we don't get the full brunt of life. It's like you have an AC, an air condition, and the filter is clogged. You're breathing in bad air because, the filters are not working. It's clogged with old stuff. Here you are in the present day trying to breathe, and you're clogged with old stuff from toxic people who have done things to you. It's not your fault, whatever it is that you went through. See? If you're clean, you get dumped in a dumpster that's full of trash, and you come out and you smell, it's not your fault that you smell. It's the dumpster that you were in. It's the toxic family that you may have been in. You may have adopted their rhythms from young, not knowing they were bad rhythms. You see what I mean? So it's really a terrible thing, and we have to sometimes be left alone to sort it out. And as we're left alone to sort it out, it's not like a mathematical equation for the next day's schoolwork. It's something deep that we got to sort out that usually takes decades of our life. Exactly, Master Glenn. We need to protect ourselves from unwanted pregnancies. That's when the neglect starts. And it's so many other factors too. I mean, it's just so many things. It's a process, but being healed is a reward that you have. Exactly. It starts from the womb. Beautiful words. I'm proud to be here. So sometimes I don't even think I deserve y'all. I'm like, man, what did I do to deserve all these good people being around me? It's honestly hard to find someone to talk to, not too many people around to really listen to you who are authentic. You're right about that, Sister Oyala. Yes, you're right. It's not that easy. I said that fine, but it's not that. You're right. It's not that easy. And a lot of time they'll sit down with you to find out what you're going through, to go run with it. And everybody else in the whole world knows it. And you're like, wait a second. I'm trying to heal here. I thought you were sincere. Crazy how the shows about children and the ambulance just went off. Oh, wow. New York City. Wow. And you know what? There's so much of that going on. And that's because of these adults that are crooked. And I watch for things when I'm in public. I'll watch for it. There's certain things I see. If I sniff it, I'm stepping to it. And I have done that. I've stepped to cars in neighborhoods that I half knew, but I knew they didn't belong there. And I acted like I was, what are you here for, man? What's up? What are you looking for? Oh, I was a little lost, and I pulled over just to look at the address and see if it was right. Yeah, but there's about 5 kids over there in the yard between 5 and 6 and 7 years old. You see what I mean? And you're over there looking at them. Put your hands on the wheel, man. They don't know if you're a cop or not. I'm not trying to impersonate a cop, but when you walk over to them and say that with authority, they're going to think you are one, and you're going to see if there's some lotion on the hand or their zippers open. There's all kind of sick shit going on out here. And we all not just need to be, but we are the police, the real police, not the overseers, the officers, the overseers. We need to police our own communities. We need to start out and let it snowball out. If I was in America, over there somewhere like I was, I'd start writing newsletters and sticking it up under people's doors that I am going to walk the streets between certain hours of the night and make sure that everything is straight. And I want to have everybody's phone number. And some of y'all who are sitting around watching TV, watching porn, whatever it is, y'all need to get up and do the same thing too. I wouldn't say it that way, but I'm going to make it that way where they see me and they'll be like, oh man, put your 2 hours, put your 3 hours in. Let's just walk up and down and see the regularity in the schedules. That'll stop car thieves from coming around. That'll stop people from doing little things, whatever, damaging people's property, snatching up people's kids. We need to have a patrol. There could be at least 2 or 3 people from a subdivision. Come on, y'all. If your child don't take the school bus and they need to walk home, they need to walk with these designated parents or people who are in the community. There's so much that we can do on our own. I can kick out ideas from here to kingdom come. I can't do it all on my own. It's just to stoke a little bit of creativity of things we can do with our scrap energy, the energy that we sit around. Oh, I wish there was something to do. I'd go out, I'd do this. But there's something you can do right there. And there'll be reciprocation. Because if we all do that for each other, our houses wouldn't get robbed. Or our sisters wouldn't get beat down from the boyfriends they got parked out in front of the house. Doesn't mean you got to go put your hand on anybody. I'm not asking that. But if you keep it organized, you keep that camera, you keep this, whatever, it'll stop a whole lot of stuff when people know that you're on point. It'll prevent a whole lot of stuff. And we need to be able to talk to more people. We have a lot of elderly people out there who have a lot of wisdom. Yo, some of them are gossips. I know that. Stay away from them. But you need somebody to talk to. There's a lot of people who would love to talk to you. Test them out, though. Ask them, share their wisdom. They'll feel more value in their lives because now they know they have something valuable for you. And they'll feel better like, wow, she needed something or he needed something that I have as far as wisdom is concerned. Isn't that something? There's an elevation between the energy sharing. It's a beautiful thing. Let me see what Landon said. So much world environment almost succeeded at making a lot of us brothers and sisters heartless now, can't help but spread the love. It's a new day now. It's a new day. We know what the enemy wants for us. We know it. It's a new day. Look at the child like it's yours, because it is yours. You see what I mean? If we think of it that way, everything would elevate so much more. And don't you think the enemy knows how we go on again? I'm not saying anybody here. I'm not saying anyone here. But out there, the majority of the brainwashed people who fallen for the okie doke thinking this trash culture is our culture. And I ain't my child. You can't put your hand on my baby. I'm not saying beat somebody else's child down, but if they're about to run across the street and get hit, you need to snatch that child up. If they're about to go and hit somebody, you need another child, you need to break that fight up. You need to put hands on them. We know when it's too much, right? So we need to bring that back. Donald Trump ran around to make America great again. We need to realize our greatness. We already have it. It's not like make us great again. We already have it. We just been overlooking it and neglecting. You see what I mean? So we got to get back to that. And like I said, each person, we need to heal ourselves up. We need to get back to basics. We need to get back to that communal way of thinking and living and really talk and have discussions. But those neighbors that you have, hey, if you're not talking to them, whatever, for whatever reason, heal that up. If not, if it's beyond repair, then it needs to be that way, because there are a lot of crooked people out here that you don't need to have in your life. I'm not just saying about a kumbaya moment, because there's some people that you don't need in your life because they're not even interested in pursuing a higher vibration. You can't pull the weight from them. Let them find their own peace. Let them find their own level. But for those who are interested to sit down and talk and create a new reality. We have Asians coming to America. We have Ukrainians coming to America. We have Middle Eastern folks coming to America. Yeah, they come here to America, and I'm over in the crowd, but my heart said, that's why I said, come here. They come here to America, and they realize all of these freedoms and chance for making money and all this stuff, and we've been here. We can't wait on that no more. We got to give it to each other. We've been giving it to them in the job market, our life force, our talents, our abilities, and we don't get a damn thing back for it. Let's give it to ourselves. Let's share it amongst ourselves. You see what I mean? Goods and services and things that we can share at a discount rate, and we charge the folks out there more. Don't give away your life force anymore just for $1. Or money. Give your real life force to your own people. Yes, we got to trade off time for money on these jobs with hourly wages or even a salary or whatever it may be. But when you come home and give your family what it needs. See, I may be way over here in Accra, Ghana, but my heart is right there. If I was there and I had my home there and y'all were close by, we're going to come on over one night. We're going to come and eat dinner. I'm not asking y'all for nothing. And we're going to do this kind of thing face to face. I just want to feel the energy. It's the life force that boosts me up. I know my age. I know I'm not 20 no more. I know and feel I have a lot more to go. but I feel it and I know it. And there's a sense of urgency that we have to go into a certain place. We can't keep going on like this. Drop the dead weight of people who don't want to rise in your life. Your children will thank you for it. Growing up, I had high vibrational people around me because of my parents and the conversations and things that I heard them say. Oh man, I may not have understood everything. But the beautiful part about it is I did. And what I didn't know, they would explain to me. Exactly. Because there's wonderful comments in this room. It's beautiful. And it's divine. We know there's wicked things. You're going to cut the news on right now. Somewhere in your city, not too far, something tragic happened. We know that. We know that's the result of what has been going on in an engineered way against us. Okay, it's like a boxing match. Okay, you punch me, you're in a fight, you're going to get hit. You grow up in America, you're going to get hit somehow, some way. But in getting hit, how do you maneuver yourself around being a statistic to being one who has overcome, like a Sister Hope Rice, right? Like a Master Glam and all others who may be here with different ways. It may not be all the same way. You know, I've had to overcome certain things. Why, you know, people look at me, well, why aren't you locked up for the rest of your life? Why aren't you in prison? Because I was taught how to avoid those things. I had a life coach, 2 of them in the form of my parents, right? And I did little stupid mistakes, but the bottom line is I made it. I remember when I was going for state correction up in New York, and they were, you know, up there, they're very prejudiced against people, racist against people who come from down in the city. If you know how New York City is, like, it's just a small place, and New York State is huge all the way up to Canada. And they were asking me about my background. I was going for the, you know, psychological, the physical, the background thing. And with the psychological, I passed with flying colors. And they were like, wait a second, you didn't do no crime? You have a 2-parent household. You did good in school. I don't have no college, right? But they couldn't believe it. They could not believe it. And I said, listen, why are you so in shock? He said, well, listen, folks from down in the city, they usually have some kind of scar. Usually something in the background with drugs or whatever. I said, there's nothing I got going on like that. I had a little thing with the cops, but that was squashed. It's not squashed by me. I'm saying in the system, squashed, clean. You know what I mean? They try to blame me and try to give me a felony and say I beat the white cop down. I didn't do that. 11 of them beat me down. You know what I mean? I could have been psycho. I was sitting up on top of the roof with a little piece waiting for a cop car to drive by. It bothered me. Yes, it did. And I came to, but it still messed up my mind. And I'm very, very touchy with certain things even now. But I'm good. You know what I mean? But the bottom line is that we got to look past these things and not let it continue on and protect our seeds, protect our children and raise them up properly. And if you don't know, ask somebody. Mrs. SCURV, as you well know, is fast asleep. She went up on the property today, and after it rained so hard, there's not a hurricane I ever saw in Florida that rained as hard as it did here. That's my word. I was sitting up in here medicated, and I didn't get to bed till really late. And I stayed up even more. And when I woke up, it was raining so hard. And these are some concrete structures. I'm like, I hope this rain and wind don't blow this place away. And this place ain't moving nowhere. You know, and she came on in and she worked really hard. So she's resting. She's going to go back up tomorrow. And then Saturday and Sunday will be cool. But I wanted her to come on to a show like this, but she was already. I said, listen, sweetheart, I'm not going to ask you for 10 minutes to come out here. I know you're tired. So she made me something because I'm all medicated up. I took a little walk to the supermarket, came back, boom, and here's a show. But I'm glad, and I feel so good that I can talk to you all like that and let you in my world. You know what I mean? Even back in the past when I was at the house in Orlando, and I had posted it up in Telegram. So if you want to see the house we sold, it's there. They still have it up. Even though it's sold, they still have it up. It's in our Telegram, LANCESCURV Live, and it's there. But Sister Hope was there. That pulls me closer to her. Like, wow, you remember, you know? So it's a beautiful thing. And I'm just loving it. So I'm going to wrap it right now. If anybody make sure if anybody wants to come and say anything, I'll give it 2 minutes. If not, I'll sign off. And I'm a little tired tonight to do another after show. But if y'all want to go to the conference line, I'll come in there for 5 minutes. But if y'all want to talk now, y'all can come on in there. But I'm not gonna stay because the medication I'm on, my throat's feeling all funny. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? But the injections they gave me, all the nerves and stuff like that. I was having all kind of weird dreams. I don't know what the heck I was doing. I finally got to sleep and I woke up walking. I mean, I was walking on my back. Okay, yes, we got Master Glam. Come here to wrap it up with me. Come on in.
Yes, I just want to lastly say that
Yeah,
to
take your time.
to the ladies, to the queens, I really, really want y'all to hear me and listen. Like, feel what I'm telling you right now. I want y'all to understand, especially the ones that do not have children, or even if you already do. But our womb is a portal. It is a divine creation that brings forth life, human life, a person, a human being, a child, your child. So we have to protect ourselves. Don't let just anybody have you. A lot of us, we didn't learn to, vet and how to properly uh, have men court us. We may have not had it in the way that we might have wanted or yearned for, whatever it was. But we have to understand what it is that we want so that we can prevent these unwanted pregnancies. Because, like I said, the neglect of the children starts from the womb. Because when that child is unwanted, whether it's unwanted by the father or the mother, whatever it is, the love isn't there. And when you allow anyone and just everyone to put something within that portal, it could be devastating. So you have to guard yourself. You have to see yourself as a treasure. Not only just your lineage, but you yourself. Forget about vetting and courting and, anyone else outside of you. You have to protect yourself. See yourself as a beautiful, delicate, but yet strong, delicate flower, a rose, whatever. But don't let just anybody get up in there and get you pregnant and give you a child. What you deserve, that's not what that child deserves. Because once that child starts to live that neglect, like someone said in the chat, I think it was mixed genre, the things that the child will go through, it's some of those things they are unforgettable. Nothing you say, there's no words to express it 100%. And there's also nothing that you can bring that child back from when they experience that. It is life changing, and we have to if we were not protected as children, that's even more of an incentive for us to know that we need to protect the children that are coming forward in these next few generations. So please, ladies, protect that portal and don't let just anybody get up in there. Because that's really what it is. Your womb is something so powerful. We are so connected to nature. That's why that placenta looks like a tree, because it's literally a child. When that child like literally attaches itself to your uterus and starts growing, that's what it is. It's like you become like a root to that child. That's that root, and that child starts to grow like a fruit that's coming out of a tree. So take care of yourself.
Thank you, Master Glam. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave everything on that powerful note. And I don't want to mess up this flow. Yes, I don't want to mess this up. This is great. Let me be back tomorrow night. I'm going to drop some things in the day, and I'm probably just going to dive right in the bed right now and just get some sleep. We're going to have some fun tomorrow night. We'll talk some serious stuff, and well, I'll have y'all cracking up, the gut busting laugh, because in the trenches of life, we definitely have to laugh. All right. Much love to you all. I will see you all tomorrow. I hate to go so abruptly, but I'm going to cut it short tonight to have even more energy for the weekend to come. Much love. I'll see you on Telegram and WhatsApp and all those good things. I'm easy to reach. Have a good evening, everybody. We're going to play more music tomorrow night and have the longest show tomorrow night. We're going to have a whole lot of fun tomorrow. I'm going to turn in early tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm just so happy that I have a family like you. It's going to make sure that I have a good, long life just because of you guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.